Alrighty. This video is dedicated to explaining what is an eximus, how an eximus works, and how Overguard works, because apparently people still don't understand any of those. Even though DE themselves, back in the Angels as Airmen update, and the Eximus refresh, dedicated a video to explaining to it. Kind of like the videos they do now, like the damage attenuation video. But Pablo recently did the Oberon rework video. All those. Oh, and also they had a dev workshop. But, in classic fashion, people just watched the video, cheered like hype trains, didn't pay attention, and then complained and whined. And struggled. Because listening ears were off, and consume product and get hype for next product brain was on. So apparently it's my job, because apparently I had the bad life decisions to do this video, to teach all you how eximus work. If you understand how eximus work, good for you. If you don't, this video is for it. If you're new to eximuses, my apologies if I seem like an irritated fuck. The reason why I'm irritated is because there's a lot of older players that for some fucking reason don't understand how this works. When the devs themselves, quite literally on a dev stream, which a lot of older players watch, quite literally explained it. Not just that, a lot of high-end YouTubers that do Warframe content that a lot of older players watch did videos on these changes when these changes came out. But somehow people still don't understand how these fucking enemies work and how Overguard works as a whole. So I'm here to do a video on explaining it. And in the description of this video will be the original video from the devs themselves, also known as the horse's mouth, of how it works. The video and the actual workshop, if you're curious about looking at that in the description below. We will start with Octavia. As an example, our Eximus entirely invulnerable to all Overguard mechanics. Like, well, not all Overguard mechanics. Is Overguard and Eximus units completely invulnerable to all CC? No. Not even close. Some, not all. That's a good old sip of I hate my fucking life for playing this frame. Absolutely engaging gameplay there, by the way. Okay. Does it fuck over Loki? Well, I'm glad you asked. Does it fuck over Loki? You're like, wait, why are you on Exaku? That's not Loki. Zip it. Watch. I don't know, you tell me. I don't know, you tell me. Does Loki get screwed over by them? No. Decoy does not get screwed over by Eximus Overguard. Not in this fucking slightest. Does Meg Bubble? Somehow people think Meg's Bubble gets cucked from Overguard. I hate the burst or bubble, Chief. But no. You can make bubble and Eximus. Does Limbo's Rift get fucked over by Eximus units? No. They can still be rifted, just not frozen until Overguard's gone. Which, we have weapons for that anyway. So. You're never gonna find an army of Eximus like this unless you're a psychopath like me and you go and solo Eximus Interception on fucking the Jade Shadows event known as Belly of the Beast, which I have recorded, by the way. I'll leave that in the description below. Soloed all as Limbo. But you will notice they're all frozen, even though they are Eximus units. Because the Rift itself isn't fucked over by Overguard. Only Stasis. Which an easy solution to Stasis not working against overguarded enemies is to take out your guns like you're supposed to do in Warframe, is shoot enemies. Take out your weapons. And also, like you're supposed to with this rework, what they mentioned all the way back in Angel of Zerman, and fucking shoot them. Oh, and it's also if you're like, oh, but I can't bypass the Rift. What's the Warframe meta right now? Melee influence, that bypasses the Rift. There you go, problem solved. Or, you know, just use fucking exalted weapons, because apparently the only thing people know how to use right now is Wukong's Staff with melee influence, or Excalibur Umbra's Exalted Blade with melee influence, or Farouk's Serene Storm with melee influence, which, by the way, the Exalted's bypass the Rift. Or damaging abilities like Sarin Spores, Exaku's Guns, all these go for the Rift. Meaning, the only thing that is limiting you with a Limbo, you meta slot players, is you not understanding game mechanics. What a fucking shocker there. You mean people that go for the most fucking simple solution can't understand anything other than the simple solution? Go figure. Anyway. Now, how do you counter Eximus units? Now, but we got that out of the way, but some abilities are immune to CC and some aren't. How do you counter an Eximus enemy? Well, there are multiple ways here. We'll even use Vauban as an example. We'll bring out Vauban because apparently people don't understand Vauban either. So, we're gonna play a little game, okay? We're gonna play a little game of high priority target, which our eximus are high priority targets anyway, so we're gonna play the fun little game of how well do you know enemy mechanics and how well do you know the game itself. All Jerry's friends are pulled into the bubble. What do? You have multiple options. You can stand here idly and let your abilities kill all Jerry's friends. And then, while you're murdering Jerry's friends, you can just end up nuking Jerry's friends like that. You know? Can end up just killing Jerry's friends. While you're killing Jerry's friends, idly, there are two things that could happen. Your Sentinel could have killed the eximus. Your Sentinel could have stripped the Overguard of eximus. Your Bullet Orb from Bobbins 2 could have stripped the Overguard of the eximus. Your 1 could have triggered its AoE effect like that from Tesla Bank Augment and pulled it in. You could have ended up with your on-call removing its Overguard. There, I was spawning my on-call. And magically it gets pulled in. You could have had your nuke slop friend in your squad done it. There are multiple ways to counter an eximus with Bobbin. Fun fact, most frames that have CC abilities have an anti-eximus counteract button already in their loadout that counteracts the Overguard, which then turns the enemy back into a basic enemy. You also have Secondary Fortifier, which, by the way, steals the enemy's Overguard and gives it to you. Also does bonus damage to Overguard. And we already have enough damage anyway that using an Arcane slot for utility really isn't an issue. So you can also just do that and then magically the Overguard's gone. We also have access to Magnetic damage, which does bonus damage to Overguard. We also have access to Void damage from our Operator and also from Exoda's Whisper. Banshee's Silence stops Eximus abilities from doing anything, so you could also just slap that on and magically the Eximus just becomes a fucking basic bitch enemy, but with a protective layer from CC abilities and also just an extra health bar. So it's just a regular enemy, basically, but tankier is all. And immune to some things, which is gone once you remove Overguard. Okay. Now, we're gonna do another thing, okay? I'm going to spawn in the Murmur, okay? We're gonna have 9 lumbering fragments, and we're gonna have 1 warden. Now, how does this... How do we stop the severed warden from giving away Overguard? What do? You see those arms on him? Get rid of him. And everything becomes vulnerable. By the way, Bobbins 2 is coded as a weapon, so you can use weapons that give you buffs, like the Munis Quanta, and it will affect Bobbin's ability. Arcane Hotshot and Orshall affects Bobbin's ability. It's funny. The Metaslot people used to run stat sticks like Magistar and that with their core of Whipclaw, because it was coded as a weapon, but they can't figure out that other abilities other than fucking Pseudo Exalteds are coded as a weapon. and do weapon synergies outside of just pseudo-exalted after the exalted rework. Unless it's a hyper-specific one, like fucking Nova Neutron Star. And unless someone posted a video on it, made a video calling it the best nuke ever, no one would have watched it and figured it out. Moving on. Before I get more irritated. And sound more irritated. But I want to sound. Brook. How will I ever build up my restraint for my String Storm? Find the trash mobs, and then when you find the trash mobs, then you can kill the eximus with your 4, because the trash mobs are vulnerable to CC. Also, if you're curious how well Brook does against attenuation, well, here's your answer. Also, I'm not even using his strongest attack. His strongest attack is slide attacks, but I'm choosing to use the primary attack. And I didn't even build them right. There's way better Brooks out there. This is just the most random and lazy slapped together build ever. There's way stronger Brooks out there. And it did this. There are far better and stronger Brooks out there. But I'll give him a build anyway. There you go. Go nuts. Okay. Also, if you say I move too fast, for that you do, or you can just pause when I am in the arsenal. Just there's a pause button on the video. You pause the video, right? But just in case you didn't pause the video. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. But yeah. Let's pretend, for example, let's just pretend that you're dealing with 20 eximus at the same time. And you're someone like Limbo. How will you ever manage? How will you ever in the world complete the mission? I'm trying to find the miter. How horrible. You hear this, guys? 20 eximus? I'm not gonna be able to do anything! I won't be able to rift anything! No! I won't be able to fucking use my abilities! Oh my god! They can be sent to the rift. Which I probably already mentioned, I just have bad memory. I don't know if I already mentioned this. Oh, and also, once they're sent to the rift and their overguard is gone, they can be frozen. Another tip. Exalted weapons and all that bypass for them. So, all you people that use nothing but melee influence slop, you have no excuse. For why you have no excuse to complain when there's Limbo in your team. You bypass the rift anyway. Literally no excuse. None. Not a zilch. You don't have an excuse. All you people that use Valkyr, and complain about the rift, you have no excuse. Exalted weapons bypass the rift. All you messes are like, I can't shoot any enemies, I want to shoot with my 4. Your 4 bypasses the rift. All you Excaliburs out there that complain about the rift, your 4 bypasses the rift. All the Sarens out there are like, I can't nuke! Your abilities bypass the rift. All the Exakus out there that complain, your abilities bypass the rift. You're starting to notice a theme here? Damaging abilities go for the rift. Okay. Also, we have damage ability substance. We have Thermal Sunder. We have Breach Surge, which bypasses Rift. Also, Breach Surge multiplies with Rift Torrent for stupid damage, so there's that too. So yeah. Okay. So, eximus units. How do they work? Well, they're just a regular enemy, but they have an extra health bar. And once that extra health bar is gone, they're sustainable to more CC abilities than the few ones that bypass Overguard. Okay. Silence disables their abilities, so then they start fucking acting like a normal... Like, start acting like a normal enemy, but with an extra health bar. Even if Overguard is gone, which I'll demonstrate right now. Just in case you think I'm bullshitting you. Okay, we got that out of the way. Now, what does each Eximus do? Arson Eximus, right here, releases a fiery wave. When it punches the ground, you can either melee block, or you can just jump and you won't get knocked on the ground. Or if you're lazy, like Nightmare, you can just put Prime Sure-Footed on everything. Energy Eximus creates this little energy zap, which you can just jump away from, and it doesn't remove your energy. Life Leech. What's it do? Same thing as Energy Eximus. Also, fun fact, Eximus abilities are what bypass or if not Eximus weapons. So, if you disabled abilities with silence, or you actually react and dodge the abilities, you won't have an issue with the abilities piercing the rift, because only abilities bypass the rift. Enemy abilities are what go for the rift, not enemy weapons. You see that? So avoid the big pink thing that goes on the ground, and you won't have issues. Which one is this? Energy Eximus again. That is not the one I want. Why do you keep giving me an Energy Eximus? Get creative. Which one is this? Blitz? Yeah, so Arson. I didn't get knocked down. Because I jumped. I actually used the agility button. Jade Light. We have this thing called bullet jumping and moving. Kind of hard for a Jade Beam to get to you if you're constantly on the move. Oh, and if you are someone that stands still, little tip for you. Just shoot the orb. Or. Kill the Eximus. Or hit it with radiation. Radiation temporarily disables the Eximus abilities. Fucking give me an Eximus that's not that. Fucking... Oh my fucking Lanta. There we go, Shock Eximus. How does the Shock Eximus work? I'm glad you asked. It throws out homing electric balls that fall around you. Now what do you do with these homing electric balls? I mean, you can shoot them like a normal person. well, not shoot them like a normal person. You can just stay away from them like a normal person, and they will dispatch like normal. Or you can nuke them. You know, use your weapons in the game, all about using your weapons, and magically the enemy goes away, and so do the death orbs. Blitz eximus. You can just hear the charge up and then dodge. Or if you see the big fucking tidal wave coming at you, you know, just walk away from it. It's just, you could just walk away from it. Try and get the life leech, not life leech, the frost eximus. Because apparently people, oh my fuck. There we go. How do you counter frost eximus? Walk inside its bubble. Or hit it so hard from outside its bubble that it dies instantly. It's not that hard. Okay. Now I'm gonna go put the sever warden again. Okay? I have 5 of these. Okay? I have 5 of these, 1 severed warden. Now you see, it's giving everybody Overguard. I could kill the enemies, and then those enemies are no longer an issue. Right? I could do that. Enemies gone, problem solved. Right? Or, if I'm playing a frame that wants to use its abilities, but its abilities don't work because the enemy has Overguard, you see these hands on it, right? Interact with the enemy's mechanic. And magically, everything else becomes vulnerable. Now, how do I counteract the... How do I counteract the Ancient Protector, you may ask? I mean, one way is you just kill the enemy it's buffing. I mean, that's one way. Just murder everything it's buffing. Like that. You know, like when it starts buffing them, just start murdering them all. I mean, you could do that. Or what you do is you do what you're supposed to do and prioritize the high priority target, which then makes all the weaker targets easier to take down because the high priority target isn't, you know, making the other targets hard to take down. But yeah. Enemies in Warframe have a engaging mechanic. And what you're supposed to do with that mechanic is engage and counteract. Every game has this. It is really not that hard to figure out. Every game has enemies that you engage in for their mechanics. I'm just going to show you a few examples of enemies that have engaging mechanics. Okay? I'm going to show you a few examples of enemies with engaging mechanics, which require you to, you know, engage with their mechanic. Get you to go, oh, this is what they're doing. Maybe I should counteract. So, now you know how to sever warning works. I'm going to show you more examples of engaging mechanic enemies. Enemies that make you go, okay, this is how I fight it off. Because people, for some reason, don't know how to fight enemies with engaging mechanics. They only know how to nuke slop. Unfortunately. Even though in most games you have these enemies with engaging mechanics. But for some reason, people don't take what they learn from other games. Like enemy mechanics, like, here, I'll pull an example of my ass, Doom Eternal. It has enemy engaging mechanics. Each enemy has an engaging mechanic. They don't take that and they do it here. Enemies have them in every game, including this game. They have enemy engaging mechanics. But for some reason, people don't fucking use them. And it's really sad and irritating. But people don't, like, engage with the enemy mechanics. Now, this probably looks like a fucking shit show. But the shit show is just an example of how to counteract enemy mechanics. So the Frax, what would you do? Kill it in its main form. Go into the ghost form, which if you're one of those people that's obsessed with Cascade, you probably already know this. Airless, what do? Hit the canisters. Probably shouldn't have used Stropha because Stropha just cheeses it. Ambulance, what do? Its weak spot is the legs. Hit the legs. Or hit it right in the nose. Like right there in the middle. That's its weak spot. Juggernaut. What do you do to a Juggernaut? Actually, this thing. What do? It will split into two. Kill both versions. Ambulance, when it's down, how do you engage with it? You hack it. Temple Guardians, how do you engage with them? Opera dash into them. Ambulance, how do you engage with an ambulance? Oh, not an ambulance, a Bursa. Attack it from behind, and then when you kill it from behind, what you do then is you then, after you attack it from behind, you can hack it. Juggernauts. How do you engage with the Juggernaut? It will pop out its weak point. Shoot it in the weak point. Okay? I will teach you right now. I'll start with the how do you engage with Island Vombulus? When you fight Island Vombulus, what do? You take down his main form, and then you kill its ghost form. Obviously, you'd use Vazarin, because Vazarin increases your operator damage from here. But here, I'll show you an example. Airless. How do you engage with airless? Now you see these little canisters. You could shoot each individual canister slowly like that. You know? You could shoot each individual canister slowly taking it down. You could also shoot it with your opera amp and yeah, it'll remove the overguard like that. Right? Go an example. Yeah, it would remove the overguard like that. This is true. Or you could walk up with a wide projectile attack and all canisters go away. So basically, you could slowly whittle its health down by shooting each individual canister, or you could just engage with its mechanic and execute it with a wide projectile attack. Severed Warden. How do you counter a Severed Warden? See, you could nuke slop complain that everything has overguard, so CC is entirely irrelevant, like I said earlier, and just nuke slop it. Or you can engage with its mechanic, remove its arms, and then basically every enemy is back to normal and they can be CC'd. Ancient Protector. You could complain that CC is dead and go back to nuke slopping, or you can engage with its mechanic, kill it since it's a high priority target, and then off you go. Problem solved. Gonna notice a theme here. Engage with the enemy's mechanic. DE designs enemies with specific mechanics in mind. This enemy, how do you kill it? You engage with its mechanic. It has 2 attacks. You kill one form, and then you kill the other form. Undying Flyer. How do you engage with its mechanic? How do you kill an Undying Flyer? You first down it like a regular person would by shooting it. You know? Kill it like a regular person. And then it'll go into this little pod form. And rather than it reviving itself, just destroy the pod. Engage with its mechanic. Engage with the game mechanics that are designed around it. Every enemy has a game mechanic. Engage with it. Arbitration drones. How do you counteract an arbitration drone when a bunch of enemies are around it? Blow up the drone, you can damage every other enemy. Again, engage with the mechanic. Demolisher Guardian. How do you kill something that's gray barred like this? Engage with its mechanic. Like Borbaben taught you. Dash into it. Remove the Overguard. Remove the Overguard. Dash through it. Remove the gray bar. And then kill it. Engage with its mechanic. Which is the point of the enemy. Like every game, there's always an enemy and a game mechanic around it. You engage with the mechanic. The Kuva enemies. But you find it in conjunction survival and the Zerman as a whole. How do you counteract it? If it spawns in its thing, because it has a unique thing it does. Here, I'll spawn a few more just for example. Okay, you see this big bubble? How do you engage with its mechanic? I can't use my frame. What do I do? Engage with its mechanic. Remove the spear. You remove the throwing spear, you can use your frame again. Engage with its mechanic. By the way, the enemy codex exists for a reason, and it will give you hints on how they fight, how they attack. You can also use your code. You can also just scan the enemy with your scanner, and it'll show you what it's weak to with your synthesis scanner. Again, ambulance, engage with the mechanic. Attack its weak points, the legs and its face. Then you hack it. Ambulance, you engage with the mechanic. You find its weak spot. And then you kill it. Skuldra Harbinger. How do you counteract the Skuldra Harbinger? That's carrying an enemy in the tank fight with an RPG. Engage with its mechanic. Shoot the Harbinger's bag, and it will force drop the enemy that's holding the RPG. Engage with the enemy's mechanic. Okay. We'll go to the Jugulus. Oh, not Jugulus. We'll go to a Juggernaut. Actually, we'll go to another one. A Boiler. How do you counteract the Boiler? Engage with its mechanic. You see the infested pod? Destroy it. You destroy the pod before the Boiler spawns its enemy? You don't get a bonus enemy. Engage with its mechanic. Look at what it's weak to and counteract. Look at how it fights. Read how it fights. Adapt. How do you take on a juggernaut? You guessed it. I probably already mentioned it. Actually, I did mention it earlier. You engage with his mechanic. I mean, you can have your on-call come in and just... If your on-call's not bugged. Which apparently my on-call is bugged. For some reason. So he's doing the T-pose. But what you could do is you could spawn in your on-call and have it instant kill the Juggernaut. Or, and the or part is, you could wait for it to do its slam, and you see that little yellow part right under its body? Right under there? You could wait for it to jump up, and then hit it right there. Or, use something like the Sampodes, and it will go underneath. Slam attacks hit underneath the Juggernaut, hitting its weak point. Engage with the mechanic. Counteract its mechanic. That is the whole point of the Eximus rework. That is the whole point of Eximus Overguard. It is for you to engage with the mechanic. It's so you don't go around going spamming nuke slop, nuke slop, nuke slop, and complaining, wow, CC is boring. It doesn't do anything. Engage with the mechanic. That's why the Eximus rework is there. It's not there to completely nullify CC. It's there to make you engage with the mechanic, rather than CC being an AFK thing. Because pre-Angels of Zeraman, CC was just AFK. That's all it was. It was AFK. So what DE did, all they did is make it so you actually have to engage with your opponents now. You actually have to stop and think and go, oh, this is what this enemy does. So I will counteract with this. That is all. DE didn't butcher the enemy. DE didn't make the enemy not able to be CC'd. You just don't know how to engage with its mechanic. That's all. Every enemy has a mechanic that you can engage with. Okay? Every enemy has a mechanic you can engage with. But people don't engage with it. You can either nuke this enemy, or you can engage with his mechanic and remove the speakers. And now it can't do its radio attack. But let's be honest, you're just gonna nuke it anyway. But still, engage with the mechanic. I will leave videos in the description that show weak points for enemies, so it's easier for you to charge your cannons. But yeah, just remember, Overguard isn't the death of CC. You not knowing how to engage with the mechanics of the game is. Every game has a game mechanic, which you have to engage with. And if you engage with the mechanic, then the enemy is weaker than you are, because you're actually counteracting its strength by using its vulnerability against it. And if you can't figure out how an enemy mechanic works, you have the internet. I'm probably cutting out and you can't hear me right now, so I'm gonna have to come back in another room and save this. But you have the internet. Please, for the love of holy fuck. For the love of holy fuck. Please, research it. Research it. Like, you have the internet at your disposal. Research videos. How does this enemy work? Or just, you know, use the game wiki. You use the wiki for everything else, so why don't you use the wiki to counteract enemy mechanics? It's there for a reason. The codex is there for a reason. Please, people. Please. Stop limiting yourself. That's all I ask. Please use the tools to your disposal to make your life easier. Please don't limit yourself by your own stupidity. Please, just use your brains. Don't blindly follow YouTube videos and YouTube builds and clickbait and all that. Actually play Warframe like any other game you would play. Like, most of Warframe's community is also a huge Dark Souls community. And you're so good at countering the enemy's mechanics over at that game. But then you get to this game and you don't know how to counteract many enemy mechanics. It's no different over there than it is here. And this is coming from someone who doesn't play Dark Souls at all. This is coming from someone that can just read the game and see you fuckers in all your videos taking on all these tough bosses. You engaging with the enemy's mechanic. Counteracting their attacks. Why do you not do it here? There is no excuse. Every game has game mechanics for you to counteract the enemy. Why do you not engage with the mechanics here? Why do you make yourself suffer? Why do you make yourself struggle and then complain that you're struggling? Engage with the game's mechanics, please. Like you would at any other game that you play, where you counteract in a fight. You're playing God of War? Engage with the mechanic. What do you do when you see a Draugr? You throw your axe at it. You're playing Horizon. What do you do when you're fighting a Thunderjaw? You shoot the turrets off of it. What do you do when an enemy charges at you and you're playing God of War again? You fucking parry it. What do you do in Dark Souls when an enemy fucking goes to hit you? You dodge roll. Do you know what these are? These are you engaging with the mechanic. So what's your excuse here? Other than laziness and brain deadness. You turn your brain off, you don't think, and you just copy and paste. Here. But everywhere else, you engage with game mechanics. A lot of Warframe players, they like the Doom series. And what do you do in the Doom series? Oh, there's a Marauder. What do I do? Stun it with the super shotgun. And then when it's stunned with the super shotgun, ballistica it. Or you dodge its attacks. These are all engaging with the mechanic. Okay. Some of you Warframe, here's another example of you engaging with mechanics, but for some reason you don't bother to do it anywhere else. Cascader. Holy fuck, this is a long video. I just noticed it's like almost 60 minutes long. Sorry about that, but seriously though. Another example, Cascaders. You engage with the Cascades mechanics, but you can't be bothered to engage with mechanics anywhere else. Why? Why do you do this to yourself? Elite Eidolon Hunters that fucking do 6x free. You engage with the Eidolon's mechanics, but when it comes to every other game mechanic, you don't engage with it. Why? Arbitration meta squad people. You engage with the arbitration's mechanics, the arbitration drone's mechanics. You make hyper-specific builds for it. But when it comes to engagement with mechanics somewhere else, you don't do it. Why? Profit taker speedrunners. When you engage with the mechanics there, you're really good at engaging with the mechanics there. But somehow you can't engage with the mechanics here. Why? This video is basically just an explanation on how the enemy Overguard works and how eximus work, but also just Warframe community do better. Please. Engage with the mechanics. You do it everywhere else. What is your excuse to not do it here? Okay? You complain about your gear wheel being disabled in ETA and EDA, but then you don't use your gear wheel anywhere else. You complain about your abilities being turned off in ETA and EDA, but you don't engage with enemy mechanics everywhere else and use your abilities to your advantage everywhere else. You complain about having to use random weapons, but you don't think outside the box and engage with the enemy mechanics with your arsenal. You just use the same weapons over and over again. Warframe is not a hard game. It is not that difficult. And the enemy mechanics are really easy. The only way you will struggle in Warframe is if you yourself do not look past the meta slop and actually get creative. Actually engage with the game's mechanic. Engage with the game's design. Listen to what the devs are telling you in their streams of how mechanics work. And I know most of you are not going to watch this video. And if you do, it's probably going to go out your ear. But to the people who do listen to this and take this to heart and actually utilize it, thank you. And I hope you can get past the attenuation changes when they come out and actually engage with the mechanics. Thanks for watching, and I'm sorry this video is so long.